Ladies and gentlemen, life is a battle, and every day you step onto the battlefield, the world is chaotic, unpredictable, and filled with challenges that threaten to knock you down. But before you engage with that chaos, before you allow the world to dictate your direction, you must first take control of yourself. You see, the way you start your morning determines the course of your day. If you begin with doubt, fear, or hesitation, you set yourself up for failure. But if you speak truth, purpose, and strength into your own mind, you build the foundation for a day and a life of meaning. This is not about empty affirmations or blind optimism. This is about fortifying your soul with words that are honest, powerful, and necessary. Speak these 7 lines to yourself every morning, not to escape reality, but to confront it head on. Because if you can order yourself properly, if you can align your thoughts with truth, you can stand up straight with your shoulders back and face the world like the warrior you are meant to be. Now, let's talk about those 7 lines, because they might just change everything. Taking responsibility is the foundation of a meaningful and well-structured life. It is not merely an option, it is a necessity. Without responsibility, life becomes chaotic, and the individual becomes vulnerable to external circumstances rather than an active participant in shaping their own destiny. When you take responsibility, you acknowledge that your actions, thoughts, and decisions directly impact your future. This realization is both empowering and daunting because it means that your successes and failures are to a significant extent within your control. Many people avoid responsibility because it brings with it the weight of expectations. However, avoiding responsibility does not remove the burden of life's challenges. It only leaves a person unprepared and incapable of handling them effectively. From a psychological perspective, responsibility is closely tied to personal development. The moment you accept that you are responsible for your own well-being, for your own future, and for your own happiness, you begin to act in ways that align with a higher sense of purpose. People who refuse responsibility often fall into patterns of blame, pointing fingers at society, their upbringing, or circumstances outside their control. While external factors certainly play a role in shaping an individual's path, they do not determine it. The way you respond to those factors, your resilience, your mindset, and your willingness to act is entirely in your hands. When you take responsibility, you stop being a passive observer of life and start becoming an active participant. One of the most significant aspects of taking responsibility is acknowledging that no one is coming to save you. There is no magical rescue, no perfect set of circumstances that will suddenly appear and make everything easier. The world is tough, and it does not owe you comfort or success. Once you truly internalize this truth, you stop waiting for external solutions and start creating your own. This shift in perspective is what separates those who build meaningful lives from those who drift aimlessly. Responsibility forces you to plan, to act, and to improve. It demands that you recognize your weaknesses and work on them rather than ignore them. It is a call to action, a challenge to step up and take control. Taking responsibility also means owning your past, no matter how painful or unfair it may seem. Many people are held back by their history, trauma, failures, missed opportunities, but responsibility requires that you integrate those experiences into who you are and move forward despite them. You cannot rewrite the past, but you can decide how it shapes your future. Those who refuse responsibility often dwell on their hardships, using them as excuses to remain stagnant. But responsibility demands that you acknowledge those hardships, learn from them, and use them as fuel for growth. The moment you take ownership of your past, you strip it of its power to control you. Another crucial element of responsibility is discipline. Without discipline, responsibility is just an abstract concept with no real effect. Responsibility requires consistent action. It means setting goals and following through with them, even when motivation fades. It means maintaining integrity in both small and large matters, keeping promises and holding yourself accountable for your words and actions. People often admire disciplined individuals, seeing them as strong and capable. But what they fail to recognize is that discipline is not something a person is born with. It is something developed through responsibility. The more responsibility you take, the stronger your discipline becomes, and the more control you have over your life. Taking responsibility also involves recognizing the impact of your choices on others. It is not just about personal gain or self-improvement. It is about understanding that your actions contribute to the larger structure of society. When you take responsibility, you become a reliable person, someone others can trust, someone who contributes positively to their environment. This builds respect, creates opportunities, and fosters deeper relationships. Irresponsibility, on the other hand, leads to broken trust, missed opportunities, and a cycle of failure and disappointment. One of the greatest misconceptions about responsibility is that it is a burden. In reality, responsibility is what gives life meaning. It provides a sense of direction, a reason to push forward despite difficulties. The most fulfilling moments in life come from the things that require the most responsibility. Whether it is building a career, maintaining a relationship, raising a family, or working toward a significant goal. People who avoid responsibility often chase short-term pleasure but find themselves feeling empty because they lack a deeper sense of purpose. Responsibility is what transforms effort into achievement, struggle into triumph, and hardship into wisdom. Taking responsibility also requires an honest assessment of your strengths and weaknesses. Many people overestimate their abilities and blame external forces when they fall short. Responsibility means admitting where you need to improve and actively working on those areas. It requires humility, the ability to take criticism, and the willingness to adjust your approach when necessary. It is not about being perfect. It is about being accountable and committed to growth. Another essential aspect of responsibility is decision making. Every decision you make carries consequences, whether positive or negative. People who avoid responsibility often delay making decisions out of fear of failure. But inaction is also a choice, and it often leads to worse outcomes than making a wrong decision and learning from it. Responsibility means making choices with confidence, accepting the outcomes, and adjusting your course when needed. It means understanding that failure is not the end, but rather a lesson in the process of growth. Furthermore, responsibility is what separates childhood from adulthood. A child depends on others to make decisions, to provide for their needs, and to solve their problems. An adult takes on these tasks themselves. Unfortunately, many people resist growing up, preferring to remain in a state of dependency, seeking comfort rather than challenge. But true growth only happens when you take full ownership of your life. The moment you decide that you are responsible for your success, your happiness, and your future, you'll begin to develop the strength necessary to face life's difficulties. Speaking the truth is one of the most fundamental and difficult responsibilities a person can take on. It requires courage, clarity, and a deep commitment to integrity. Many people avoid speaking the truth because it can be uncomfortable, both for themselves and for those around them. But avoiding the truth does not make problems disappear. It only allows them to grow in the shadows. Truth brings order to chaos, while lies, whether they are spoken to others or to oneself, create disorder and confusion. When you choose to speak the truth, you align yourself with reality, and that alignment is what gives you strength. Truth is not always easy to recognize, especially when emotions, desires, or societal pressures distort perception. People often deceive themselves because it is easier than confronting painful realities. They tell themselves they are happy when they are not, that they are working hard when they are actually procrastinating, or that their relationships are fine when they are falling apart. This kind of self-deception leads to stagnation and suffering because it prevents individuals from addressing the real issues in their lives. Speaking the truth, especially to oneself, is the first step in making meaningful change. Without truth, there can be no genuine growth. One of the reasons people avoid speaking the truth is fear. Truth can be disruptive. It can expose weaknesses, challenge beliefs, and even lead to conflict. But avoiding the truth for the sake of comfort is a dangerous game. It creates a false sense of security while the real problems continue to grow beneath the surface. Over time, this avoidance turns small problems into significant crises. Relationships deteriorate because unspoken resentments build up. Careers stagnate because people are unwilling to admit their shortcomings and improve. Health declines because individuals refuse to acknowledge and address harmful habits. Speaking the truth may be difficult in the short term, but in the long run, it is the only way to build a stable and meaningful life. The process of speaking the truth begins with self-examination. It requires asking difficult questions. What am I avoiding? What lies am I telling myself? What do I fear facing? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary. Without this self-awareness, a person remains trapped in illusions and wishful thinking. Once the truth is acknowledged internally, the next step is to express it externally. This does not mean being harsh or cruel, but rather being honest in a way that promotes growth and understanding. Truth should be spoken with precision, not as a weapon, but as a tool for clarity and improvement. There is a difference between honesty and recklessness. Some people use brutal honesty as an excuse to be rude or dismissive. True honesty requires wisdom and responsibility. It involves choosing words carefully, considering the impact they will have, and delivering them in a way that leads to constructive outcomes. Speaking the truth does not mean saying everything that comes to mind without filter. It means saying what is necessary, what is beneficial, and what aligns with reality. The goal of truth is not to harm, but to illuminate. Truth also requires consistency. A person who speaks the truth only when it is convenient is not truly committed to honesty. Integrity means holding on to truth, even when it is difficult, even when it is unpopular, even when it carries personal risk. History is filled with examples of individuals who stood by the truth despite great opposition, and those individuals are often the ones who create real change. Societies that value truth progress, while those that suppress it fall into decay and corruption. At a personal level, a commitment to truth builds character and earns respect. People trust those who are consistently honest because they know where they stand. The ability to speak truth is also connected to self-confidence. Only a person who is unsure of themselves will often hesitate to say what they really believe. They fear judgment, rejection, or failure. But true confidence comes from knowing that you are grounded in reality, that your words reflect what is real rather than what is convenient. When you speak the truth, you stand on solid ground. This does not mean that you will always be right. Everyone makes mistakes, but it does mean that you are willing to correct those mistakes when they are revealed. A person who values truth over ego is always growing, always learning, always improving. Speaking the truth also means setting boundaries. Many people struggle with this because they do not want to upset others. They say yes when they want to say no. They tolerate disrespect and they allow themselves to be taken advantage of because they fear confrontation. But honesty is essential in setting clear expectations and protecting one's well-being. When you tell the truth about what you need, what you can offer, and what you will not accept, you create relationships built on mutual respect rather than manipulation or resentment. Another important aspect of speaking the truth is knowing when to remain silent. Not every battle needs to be fought, and not every situation requires a response. Sometimes truth is best communicated through action rather than words. A person who constantly argues, criticizes, or imposes their opinions on others is not necessarily being truthful. They may simply be seeking dominance. Truth is powerful not only in speech, but in the way a person lives. A life lived honestly with integrity and responsibility speaks louder than any words ever could. Facing chaos with courage is one of the most essential and difficult tasks a person can undertake. Chaos is an inevitable part of life. It appears in many forms: uncertainty, suffering, failure, loss, and unpredictability. No matter how much a person tries to establish order, there will always be elements of chaos that cannot be controlled. Many people attempt to avoid chaos by retreating into comfort, ignoring difficult realities, or pretending that challenges will resolve themselves without effort. But avoidance does not eliminate chaos. It only allows it to grow unchecked. The only way to truly deal with chaos is to face it directly, to confront it with courage and determination. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite it. Fear is a natural response to chaos because uncertainty threatens stability and security. When people face situations they cannot fully control, they experience anxiety, hesitation, and self-doubt. However, the difference between those who overcome challenges and those who are overwhelmed by them is not the absence of fear, but the choice to move forward regardless of it. Courage means acknowledging fear, accepting it, and refusing to let it dictate actions. Every person experiences fear, but those who build meaningful lives are the ones who refuse to be paralyzed by it. One of the most common forms of chaos people face is failure. No matter how careful or prepared someone is, failure is inevitable at some point. It is easy to see failure as a sign of inadequacy, a reason to give up, or proof that success is impossible. But failure is not the enemy. It is a necessary part of growth. Every successful person has failed repeatedly. The difference is that they did not let failure define them. Instead, they used it as a learning experience, adjusted their approach, and kept moving forward. The people who achieve the most are often those who have failed the most because they were willing to take risks and learn from their mistakes. Facing failure with courage means refusing to let setbacks become permanent barriers. Chaos also manifests in the form of suffering. Life is filled with pain, loss, disappointment, betrayal, and hardship. Many people try to escape suffering by numbing themselves with distractions, avoiding difficult emotions, or blaming external forces for their pain. But suffering cannot be avoided forever. At some point, every person must confront it. The courageous response to suffering is not to run from it, but to endure it, to learn from it, and to grow stronger because of it. Some of the most resilient and admirable individuals are those who have endured great suffering and emerged with greater wisdom, strength, and compassion. Suffering is not meaningless if it is faced with courage and used as a source of transformation. Another form of chaos is uncertainty. People crave stability and predictability, but life rarely provides them. Unexpected events, sudden changes, and unpredictable outcomes are part of existence. Many people hesitate to take action because they fear the unknown. They wait for certainty before making decisions, but certainty never comes. The truth is that no one ever has complete control over the future. Courage means taking action despite uncertainty. It means making the best decision possible with the information available and being willing to adapt when circumstances change. Those who wait for perfect conditions before acting often find themselves stuck, watching opportunities pass them by while they hesitate in fear. Facing chaos with courage also requires responsibility. Many people avoid responsibility because it feels like a burden. They blame others for their problems, expect someone else to fix their difficulties, or look for shortcuts to avoid effort for shortcuts. But responsibility is what gives a person control over their own life. When someone accepts responsibility for their circumstances, they also accept the power to change them. This requires courage because it means there is no one else to blame and no easy way out. It means confronting weaknesses, addressing mistakes, and making difficult choices. The reward for taking responsibility is the ability to shape one's own destiny rather than being a passive victim of circumstances. One of the greatest challenges in facing chaos is maintaining integrity. When life becomes difficult, it is tempting to compromise values, take the easy way out, or deceive oneself and others to avoid pain. But true courage means holding on to principles even when it is difficult. It means speaking the truth when it would be easier to stay silent. It means making the right choice even when no one is watching. It means refusing to give in to despair or dishonesty, even when the situation seems hopeless. The strongest individuals are those who remain true to their values in the face of adversity. Another key aspect of facing chaos with courage is developing resilience. Resilience is the ability to recover from setbacks, to withstand difficulties without breaking. It is not something a person is born with. It is something that is built through experience, challenge, and perseverance. Every time a person faces hardship and refuses to give up, they become stronger. Resilience is developed through struggle, not comfort. Those who seek to avoid all hardship often find themselves unprepared when difficulty inevitably arises. The ability to endure and keep moving forward despite obstacles is what separates those who succeed from those who give in to despair. Courage is also necessary for growth. Growth requires change, and change is often uncomfortable. Many people resist change because it forces them to confront the unknown, to leave behind familiar patterns, and to step into unfamiliar territory. But stagnation is not safety. It is slow decay. Growth requires the willingness to step outside of comfort zones, to take risks, and to embrace challenges. People who refuse to change out of fear of failure or discomfort often find themselves trapped in lives that feel unfulfilling. Those who face change with courage are the ones who create meaningful progress. Striving for order is one of the most fundamental aspects of building a meaningful and stable life. Without order, life becomes chaotic, unpredictable, and overwhelming. Order provides structure, direction, and a sense of purpose. It is the foundation upon which success, discipline, and growth are built. Many people struggle with disorder, whether in their personal habits, thoughts, relationships, or environment. And then when there is disorder, progress becomes difficult, and the mind is constantly preoccupied with stress, uncertainty, and inefficiency. Striving for order is not about rigid control or eliminating all uncertainty, but about creating a framework that allows for productivity, clarity, and meaningful action. One of the most effective ways to establish order is by developing disciplined habits. Discipline is not something that appears overnight. It is cultivated through consistent effort and intentional action. People often assume that discipline is a restriction of freedom, but in reality, it is the key to true freedom. A person who lacks discipline is controlled by impulses, distractions, and external circumstances. They may want to accomplish goals, but without the structure of discipline, their efforts remain scattered and ineffective. On the other hand, a disciplined person creates routines, sets priorities, and follows through with commitments, which allows them to achieve greater success and fulfillment. A major part of creating order is managing time effectively. Time is the most valuable resource, yet many people waste it on distractions, procrastination, or tasks that do not contribute to their growth. Without a clear structure for how time is spent, days become chaotic and progress becomes inconsistent. Order requires planning, setting clear goals, prioritizing tasks, and eliminating unnecessary distractions. People who take control of their time find themselves achieving more, feeling more in control, and experiencing less stress. Time management is not about filling every moment with work. It is about ensuring that time is spent intentionally, balancing productivity with rest, and aligning daily actions with long-term goals. Another important aspect of order is organization. A cluttered environment leads to a cluttered mind. When physical spaces are disorganized, it creates unnecessary stress, reduces efficiency, and makes it difficult to focus. Creating order in one's surroundings, keeping a workspace clean, maintaining a structured schedule, and minimizing unnecessary possessions creates a sense of clarity and stability. Small acts of organization can have a significant impact on mental well-being, making it easier to think clearly, make decisions, and take meaningful action. Order in the environment translates to order in thoughts and actions, leading to greater overall effectiveness. Striving for order also applies to emotional and mental well-being. Many people experience inner chaos, constant worry, overthinking, or unresolved emotions. Without addressing these issues, they accumulate and create long-term stress and instability. And order in the mind comes from clarity, self-awareness, and intentional thinking. This means setting aside time for reflection, identifying negative thought patterns, and finding ways to process emotions effectively. Practices such as journaling, meditation, and constructive conversations can help bring mental order. Facing emotions honestly rather than suppressing or ignoring them allows for greater emotional stability and resilience. Relationships also require order. Many conflicts and misunderstandings arise from a lack of clear communication, undefined boundaries, or inconsistent behavior. When relationships lack structure, they become unpredictable and stressful. Striving for order in relationships means being intentional about communication, setting clear expectations, and maintaining consistency in actions. Healthy relationships thrive on trust, and trust is built through reliability, honesty, and accountability. Disorder in relationships leads to confusion and tension, while order creates stability and deeper connections. One of the most overlooked aspects of order is personal responsibility. People who refuse to take responsibility for their actions, choices, and circumstances often find themselves in a state of constant disorder. They react to situations instead of proactively shaping their lives. Order requires taking ownership of one's situation, recognizing mistakes, and making necessary changes. It is easy to blame external factors, but true progress comes from accepting responsibility and taking deliberate action to create positive change. People who embrace responsibility create order in their lives by making conscious decisions and adjusting when necessary. Striving for order also involves aligning actions with values. Many people feel lost or unfulfilled because their daily lives do not reflect their core beliefs and aspirations. Quote, when actions are disconnected from values, there is a sense of internal conflict and dissatisfaction. Creating order means defining what is truly important and ensuring that decisions and habits reflect those priorities. It means cutting out distractions, avoiding meaningless pursuits, and dedicating time and energy to things that genuinely matter. When life is aligned with values, there is a greater sense of purpose, direction, and fulfillment. Order does not mean eliminating all spontaneity or removing every element of uncertainty. Life will always have unexpected events, challenges, and moments of chaos. However, having a foundation of order makes it easier to navigate difficulties without being overwhelmed. People who have structured routines, clear priorities, and strong discipline are better equipped to handle unexpected situations because they have a stable framework to rely on. Instead of being thrown into disorder when challenges arise, they can adjust while maintaining overall stability. And creating order requires patience and persistence. Many people expect immediate results, but true order is built over time through consistent effort. It starts with small changes, establishing a morning routine, setting clear goals, maintaining organization, and being mindful of time. These small actions accumulate and create long-term stability. The process of building order is ongoing. It requires constant refinement, learning from mistakes, and making adjustments as needed. Those who commit to creating order in their lives find themselves more productive, focused, and capable of handling whatever challenges arise. Taking responsibility for your life is one of the most crucial decisions you can make. It is the foundation upon which all personal growth, success, and fulfillment are built. Many people go through life blaming external factors for their circumstances, other people, bad luck, or unfair situations. While life is undoubtedly filled with difficulties beyond personal control, dwelling on blame leads to stagnation. Responsibility, on the other hand, is empowering. It gives you the ability to change your situation, improve yourself, and create a future that aligns with your values and goals. Accepting responsibility is not about guilt or self-blame. It is about recognizing that you have control over your actions and decisions, even in the face of challenges. One of the key aspects of responsibility is recognizing the role of choices in shaping your life. Every action has consequences, and every decision you make contributes to your future. Many people underestimate the power of small choices, believing that only major events determine their success or failure. But in reality, it is the accumulation of daily decisions, what you focus on, how you spend your time, and how you react to situations that ultimately determines your path. Taking responsibility means being intentional about these choices rather than acting passively or impulsively. It means understanding that even if you cannot control every outcome, you can always control your response to a situation. Avoiding responsibility often leads to a cycle of frustration and helplessness. When people blame circumstances, they give away their power. They become passive participants in their own lives, waiting for something external to change before they take action. This mindset creates a sense of victimhood, where life is happening to them rather than something they actively shape. The reality is that no one else is responsible for making your life better. No one is coming to rescue you or fix your problems for you. True freedom comes from realizing that while you may not be responsible for everything that happens to you, you are always responsible for how you respond. That shift in mindset is what allows you to move forward, regardless of the obstacles in your path. Taking responsibility also means acknowledging mistakes and failures without letting them define you. Many people fear admitting their shortcomings because they associate mistakes with weakness. But the truth is that avoiding responsibility for mistakes only prolongs suffering and prevents growth. Everyone fails at some point, and failure itself is not the problem. It is the unwillingness to learn from it that leads to stagnation. Owning your mistakes allows you to analyze what went wrong, make adjustments, and improve. It is not about punishing yourself, but about using failures as stepping stones towards success. Those who take responsibility for their failures develop resilience and adaptability, while those who avoid responsibility repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Another important aspect of responsibility is discipline. People who take responsibility for their lives do not rely on motivation alone. They develop the discipline to take action even when they do not feel like it. A motivation is temporary. It comes and goes, influenced by emotions, energy levels, and external circumstances. Discipline, on the other hand, is built through commitment and consistency. It means showing up, doing the work, and following through on commitments, even when it is difficult. Responsibility and discipline go hand in hand because taking responsibility for your life requires doing what needs to be done, not just what is easy or convenient. Many people hesitate to take full ownership of their lives because they worry about what others will think. They fear criticism, rejection, or failure in the public eye. But seeking approval from others often leads to a life dictated by external expectations rather than personal values. Taking responsibility means prioritizing what truly matters to you over the opinions of others. It means making decisions based on your principles rather than fear of disapproval. No matter what path you choose, there will always be critics. The only way to live a meaningful life is to take responsibility for your choices and stand by them, regardless of external judgment. Responsibility extends beyond personal achievement. It also applies to relationships and interactions with others. Many conflicts arise because people refuse to take responsibility for their role in situations. They blame others, make excuses, or avoid difficult conversations instead of addressing issues directly. Healthy relationships are built on accountability, where both individuals take responsibility for their actions, communication, and emotional well-being. This does not mean taking responsibility for other people's choices or emotions, but it does mean being honest, setting boundaries, and treating others with respect. Avoiding responsibility in relationships leads to resentment and dysfunction, while embracing it fosters trust and deeper connections. Taking responsibility also means planning for the future instead of simply reacting to the present. Many people drift through life without a clear direction, hoping that things will somehow work out on their own. But without a plan, there is no meaningful progress. Responsibility involves setting goals, creating strategies, and taking consistent action to move forward. It means thinking long-term rather than seeking short-term gratification. Those who take responsibility for their future are proactive. They do not wait for the perfect moment to start, nor do they rely on luck. They take deliberate steps toward their aspirations, adjusting as needed, but never abandoning the pursuit of growth. A life of responsibility is not always easy, but it is deeply rewarding. It requires effort, self-awareness, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. But in return, it offers something far greater, the ability to build a life on your own terms. People who take responsibility for their actions, choices, and mindset gain a sense of control over their destiny. They do not see themselves as victims of circumstance, but as active participants in shaping their reality. This mindset leads to confidence, self-respect, and an unshakable belief in one's ability to navigate challenges. Believing in yourself is one of the most powerful forces that can shape your life. It is the foundation upon which all success, growth, and fulfillment are built. Without self-belief, even the greatest talents, skills, and opportunities can go to waste. Many people struggle with doubt, questioning their abilities and fearing failure. They hesitate to take risks, pursue dreams, or even express their true thoughts because they are uncertain of their worth. But belief in oneself is not about arrogance or blind confidence. It is about recognizing your potential, trusting in your ability to learn and grow, and having the courage to take action despite uncertainty. Self-belief does not come naturally to everyone. It is often shaped by past experiences, upbringing, and the messages absorbed from society. Many people have been told, either directly or indirectly, that they are not capable, not smart enough, or not worthy of success. These messages can become internalized, forming a voice of doubt that holds them back. But self-belief is not something that is given by others. It is something that must be developed from within. It begins with rejecting limiting beliefs and recognizing that ability is not fixed. It is cultivated through effort, learning, and persistence. One of the biggest barriers to self-belief is the fear of failure. Many people hesitate to take action because they are afraid they will not succeed. They imagine worst-case scenarios, worry about what others will think, and convince themselves that they are not ready. But failure is not proof of inadequacy. It is proof of effort. Every successful person has faced failure countless times. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the absence of failure, but the willingness to keep going despite it. Believing in yourself means understanding that failure is not the end. It is a lesson, a stepping stone toward improvement. It means viewing challenges as opportunities to grow rather than as barriers to success. Another key aspect of self-belief is self-talk. The way people speak to themselves has a powerful impact on their confidence and actions. Many people engage in negative self-talk, criticizing themselves, focusing on their weaknesses, and reinforcing doubts. This inner dialogue shapes how they see themselves and what they believe they are capable of achieving. Changing this requires consciously shifting the way you speak to yourself. Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, I will find a way to figure this out. Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, remind yourself, I am capable and I am always improving. The words you repeat to yourself become your reality, and choosing to speak with encouragement and determination strengthens self-belief. Surrounding yourself with the right influences also plays a major role in self-belief. The people you spend time with can either build you up or tear you down. Some people are supportive, encouraging, and inspiring, while others project their own insecurities and doubts onto those around them. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, it becomes difficult to maintain belief in yourself. Seeking out people who challenge you to grow, who believe in your potential, and who inspire you to push beyond your limits can reinforce your confidence. It is also important to limit time spent with those who discourage, belittle, or make you feel incapable. Protecting your mental space and surrounding yourself with positivity strengthens the belief that you are capable of achieving great things. Taking action is one of the most effective ways to build self-belief. Many people wait to feel confident before they take action, but confidence is not a prerequisite for action. It is the result of action. The more you step outside your comfort zone, take risks, and prove to yourself that you can handle challenges, the stronger your belief in yourself becomes. Every small achievement, every step forward reinforces the idea that you are capable. It does not have to be a grand success. Each small victory, whether it is completing a task, learning something new, or overcoming a fear, adds to the foundation of self-belief. Action creates momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Self-belief is also about trusting your instincts and making decisions with conviction. Many people struggle with self-doubt because they constantly seek external validation, worrying about whether they are making the right choices. While advice and guidance are valuable, constantly relying on others for approval weakens self-trust. Developing belief in yourself means learning to listen to your intuition, making decisions based on your values, and standing by them. It means accepting that not every choice will be perfect, but having the confidence to adjust and learn as you go. The ability to make decisions with confidence rather than hesitation is a sign of strong self-belief. Another crucial element of believing in yourself is perseverance. There will always be obstacles, challenges, and moments of doubt. There will be times when things do not go as planned, when progress feels slow, and when discouragement sets in. But self-belief means continuing to move forward, even when things are difficult. It means reminding yourself why you started, focusing on the bigger picture, and refusing to give up. Many people quit right before they are about to succeed simply because they lose faith in them. Those who believe in their ability to overcome difficulties are the ones who keep going long enough to reach their goals. Believing in yourself is not about ignoring weaknesses or pretending to be perfect. It is about recognizing your strengths, embracing challenges, and understanding that growth is always possible. It is about having faith in your ability to adapt, learn, and improve. People who believe in themselves do not wait for permission or reassurance from others. They take initiative, trust in their journey, and create their own opportunities. They understand that belief is not just a feeling, but a choice, one that must be made repeatedly, especially in moments of doubt. And